Stop pulling it. If you're on your knees ripping weeds out of a driveway crack, stand up for a second. Because the reason they keep coming back isn't that you didn't pull hard enough. It's that you've been fighting the wrong battle. You've probably heard the viral claim a $2 liquid kills any weed forever. That sentence is half true, half fantasy, and the difference is what wastes your weekends. Here's the grounded part. On April 18, 2002, USDA researchers reported that 5 to 10% vinegar can kill many weeds, especially when they're young within their first couple of weeks. That works because vinegar is acetic acid. It damages and dries out the leaves it touches. Now, here's the part people skip. Vinegar is a contact herbicide. It burns the top growth. It does not travel deep into established root systems, and it does not stop new seeds from germinating later. So when weeds come back, it's usually not resurrection. It's new sprouts because the soil underneath is still exposed and ready. That's the real problem. In the next few minutes, I'm going to separate weeds into two categories, show you exactly when the $2 liquid is powerful, when it's pointless, and what actually makes the results last. 2 weeds, 2 outcomes. Let's make this simple. There aren't weeds. There are 2 different situations that look the same from a distance. Imagine 2 plants in front of you. On one side, a tiny seedling pushing through a crack, just a few leaves, still soft. On the other, a thicker plant that's been sitting there for weeks, maybe months, building roots underground. Same spray, same amount, same day. Now watch what happens. In warm sun, that small seedling starts to fold within an hour. Leaves lose their shine. They curl, collapse, and dry out. For young weeds, especially annuals in their early growth, vinegar can be fast and decisive. That's not hype. That's exactly where it performs best. But the larger plant tells a different story. Yes, the top growth browns. It may even look finished. And this is where frustration begins. Because a few days later, new green shoots appear. Not because the spray failed, not because you did something wrong, but because established or perennial weeds often have stored energy in their roots. Vinegar burns what it touches. It doesn't travel deep into root systems. So from this point forward, the question isn't, does vinegar work? The better question is, which enemy are you facing? And before you head outside with a bottle, a quick word of caution. Household vinegar is mild but stronger. Horticultural versions are far more concentrated and can irritate skin or damage eyes. Gloves and eye protection aren't overkill. They're just smart. Now here's the piece most people overlook. When weeds seem to come back, it's often not the same plant rising from the dead. It's either root regrowth or entirely new seedlings emerging, because the surface is still open and exposed. If you only spray, you're solving the visible part. In the next section, we're going to look at why the usual weed routine keeps that surface exposed, and why that quietly guarantees you'll be fighting the same battle again. Why the normal weed routine guarantees more weeds. When weeds keep showing up in the same place, it's tempting to blame the product. But most of the time, the real issue isn't the spray. It's the surface you leave behind. Every patch of soil, even the cracks between your pavers, holds a reserve of dormant weed seeds. Agronomists call it a seed bank. Those seeds can sit quietly for months, even years, waiting for the right signals. And 2 of the biggest signals are light and disturbance. When you scrape a crack clean rake soil bare or aggressively till a strip to reset it, you're not just removing weeds. You're exposing fresh seeds to sunlight and oxygen, the exact cues many of them need to germinate. That's why the cleanest strip in your yard often becomes the weediest strip a few weeks later. Now walk through any garden center aisle and look at how solutions are arranged. You'll see post-emergent sprays like Roundup Ortho Weed Clear or Spectracide Weed. Stop products designed to kill what's already growing. A few shelves down, you'll find pre-emergents like Preen or Scott's Halts meant to stop seeds before they sprout. Different bottles, different timing, different season. It's not one product, it's a sequence. Even professional services like True Green Structure, their programs around repeated applications, fertilization, weed control, aeration. Because the biology of weeds doesn't end in one visit. Open ground plus sunlight equals opportunity. And opportunity keeps the calendar moving. None of this is a conspiracy. It's just incentives meeting plant biology. But here's the quiet shift. If light is the invitation, then blocking light is prevention. Mulch ground cover, sealed joints between pavers. These don't just look tidy, they reduce the chance for seeds to activate in the first place. Spray can be a knockout punch. Cover is the lock on the door. Once you understand that difference, you stop chasing weeds one by one and start changing the conditions that invite them. In the next section, we'll get practical. I'll show you exactly where the $2 liquid belongs in that system and the one follow-up step that makes it actually hold. Where the $2 liquid belongs. Vinegar is not your long-term strategy, it's your reset button. So let's place it correctly. There are 3 zones you need to think about. Zone 1, hard surfaces, driveway cracks, paver joints, gravel edges, fence lines. Anywhere you don't want anything growing. This is where the $2 liquid shines. Young weeds in these areas have shallow roots and soft growth. A thorough coating on a warm, dry day can knock them down quickly. No misting from a distance. You want visible coverage on the leaves. If it doesn't touch green tissue, it doesn't work. Zone 2, established or deep-rooted plants. Here, vinegar can scorch the top, but that doesn't always finish the job. Larger weeds store energy below ground. If new shoots appear later, that's stored energy talking. In these spots, vinegar is a setback tool, not a permanent solution. Use it to weaken, then remove the crown or shift to suppression. Zone 3, anywhere near plants you actually like. Vinegar is non-selective. It doesn't know the difference between a weed and your favorite shrub. If you're spraying along a bed, use a piece of cardboard as a shield. Keep the stream controlled and low. Now let's address strength. Household vinegar is about 5% acetic acid. Some garden products push that to 20% or more. Those higher concentrations can irritate skin and seriously damage eyes. Gloves and eye protection are not dramatic, they're sensible. But here's the step that changes everything. After the weeds collapse, don't leave the surface open. If it's a crack between pavers, sweep out the dead material and refill the joint. Polymeric sand can help lock that space down so light and new seeds don't get a second invitation. If it's a garden edge or bare soil strip, apply a real layer of mulch. Not a sprinkle, a proper cover that blocks light from reaching the soil. Spraying removes what's there. Filling or covering reduces what comes next. One more caution: skip the vinegar and salt home recipes in garden beds. Salt can linger in soil and damage plants you actually want to keep. In the next section, we'll build the prevention layer properly because forever isn't stronger acid. It's smarter surface control. Weed pressure. Why environment beats product? We need to zoom out for a second. Because weeds aren't just about cracks and mulch, they're about pressure. Every yard has a different level of weed pressure. That simply means how many seeds are constantly trying to move in. If your driveway sits under trees, collects windblown dust, and stays moist after rain, your pressure is high. If your beds border an open field full of dandelions, your pressure is high. If your pavers trap soil in wide joints, pressure goes up again. Now compare that to a sealed patio with tight joints, clean edges, and covered soil in surrounding beds. Fewer landing zones, less light hitting bare ground, lower pressure. That difference matters more than which spray you choose. Because weeds are opportunists. They don't need an invitation letter. They just need 3 things somewhere to land a bit of light and enough moisture to get started. Remove one of those consistently and the fight becomes manageable. Ignore them and no product on the shelf will feel permanent. This is why 2 neighbors can use the same vinegar, the same brand of polymeric sand, even the same mulch, and get completely different results. One property quietly collects debris and exposes soil. The other keeps surfaces tight and covered. It's not about intensity, it's about environment. The goal isn't to sterilize your yard. It's to make it boring. Boring soil, boring joints, boring edges. Weeds thrive in disruption, they struggle in stable conditions. And once you understand that, maintenance stops being reactive. In the next segment, I'll show you the simple seasonal rhythm that keeps weed pressure low without turning this into another repeating chore cycle. The maintenance rhythm. If the goal is a boring yard, you need a boring rhythm. Not more effort, not more products. Just smaller moves done at the right time. Here's the framework. Layer 1, weekly debris control. This takes minutes. Blow or sweep grit and leaves off your pavers so the joints don't slowly turn into potting soil. Polymeric sand works best when those joints stay filled and clean. If dirt collects, you're quietly building a seed bed between bricks. In garden beds, do a quick scan. If mulch has thinned below a solid settled layer, usually around 2 to 4 inches, top it up where needed. You're not redecorating, you're preserving a light barrier. Most weed flare-ups begin where mulch quietly disappears. Layer 2, after event seedling patrol. Weeds surge after specific triggers: a stretch of rain followed by sun, a windy day that drops seeds, mowing that exposes edges. That's your moment. When seedlings are tiny, they're fragile. A quick spot treatment or hand pull now takes seconds. Ignore them for 3 weeks and they demand tools. 10 minutes at the right time beats 2 hours later. Layer 3, seasonal barrier refresh. Early spring is your reset. Check paver joints and refill low spots. Tighten edges. Refresh mulch before the first major germination wave. If you choose to use a pre-emergent in lawns, timing matters. Apply before soil temperatures in the top couple inches consistently warm into the mid-50s. And never use it where you plan to seed. It blocks the seeds you want to. Through summer, keep interventions small. Thin mulch gets corrected early, seedlings get handled early. In fall, manage leaves on hard surfaces before they break down into soil inside joints. A little prevention here lowers next year's pressure dramatically. You have lanes to choose from. If you prefer minimal chemicals, stick with debris control barriers and early patrol. If you want lowest effort in turf, add properly timed pre-emergent. If your yard has high weed pressure, combine both just earlier and lighter. That's the rhythm. Now here's the uncomfortable part. Once you have a rhythm, the biggest threat isn't weeds. It's the store aisle designed to pull you back into the loop. Next, we'll break down exactly how that works and how to walk out with only what actually serves you. The aisle trap. How stores pull you back into the loop. Now that you've built a rhythm, something interesting happens. You stop panicking, and that's exactly the moment the store tries to pull you back in. Walk down the lawn and garden aisle for a minute. Look at how it's arranged. Big seasonal signs. Step 1, Step 2. Complete program. The message is subtle but constant: you are behind. There is a sequence, you need the next step. Take something like the Scott's 4-step program. It lays out the year for you in tidy boxes. Convenient? Sure, but here's the quiet shift. It replaces observation with obedience. Instead of asking, what does my yard actually need right now, you start asking which step am I supposed to be on? That's how a calendar becomes a shopping trigger. Then there are the combo bags. Weed and feed. Kill and nourish in one pass. It sounds efficient, but weed control timing and fertilizer timing don't always line up. If weeds are active but your grass isn't hungry, you're feeding when you don't need to. If your lawn needs nutrients but weeds aren't in play, you're applying herbicide for nothing. Convenience can quietly override precision. Next comes the language. Natural, minimum risk, safe alternative. Those words lower your guard, but the front of a bag is marketing. The back label is law. The EPA requires pesticide labels to spell out exactly how a product must be used. Concentrated vinegar herbicides, for example, can be far stronger than kitchen vinegar and require eye protection and gloves. Natural does not mean harmless. And then the gadgets. Battery sprayers, hose end systems, oversized ready-to-use jugs that are mostly water. They make a small task feel like it requires equipment. If your system is early patrol and surface control, you do not need a garage full of upgrades. Here's the filter I want you to carry in your head. Every product fits one of 3 buckets. It kills what's already growing, it stops what's about to sprout, or it changes the surface. If you can't clearly place it in one of those, it's probably selling confidence, not function. Read the label. Ask what it kills, where it can be used, when it should be applied, and what it can damage. That's how you walk out with control instead of a cart full of momentum. Next, I'll give you the simplest possible playbook area by area, so you know exactly what to do and what you can safely leave on the shelf. The simple playbook. Alright, here's the playbook. No hype, no theory, just what to do. Everything you've learned comes down to 3 moves: knock down what's there, close the surface, and keep it boring. Start with hard surfaces, driveway cracks, paver joints, gravel edges. If something is green and growing, handle it while it's small. A focused spray or quick removal is enough. Once it collapses, sweep out the remains. Then do the step most people skip. Refill the gap. If you have pavers, top up the joints so they're tight. The goal isn't perfection. It's eliminating loose pockets where dust and seeds collect. After that, your only job is simple. Don't let debris sit there and turn into soil. Move to garden beds. Clear existing weeds first, then build your barrier. Mulch isn't decoration, it's shade for the soil. Maintain a real settled layer deep enough to block light from reaching seeds underneath. Keep it off plant stems and check it after heavy rain or wind. If thin spots appear, correct them early. You're managing exposure, not chasing weeds. For lawn edges and turf, tighten the boundaries. A clean edge prevents creeping invasion. If you use any pre-emergent in turf time, it correctly and avoid areas you plan to seed. Vinegar belongs only in places where you truly want nothing to grow. That's it. You don't need a 4-step program. You don't need a shelf of specialized bottles. If you walk into a store, remember the filter. Does this product knock something down, stop something from sprouting, or change the surface? If it doesn't clearly fit one of those roles, leave it. Weeds don't require a war, they require openings. Close the openings. Keep the surface stable. Do the small work early. And your yard stops feeling like a cycle and starts feeling like control. After all, you don't need a stronger chemical. You don't need a louder system, you just need clarity. Knock down what's there, close the surface, keep it boring. That's the whole strategy. When you stop reacting and start managing conditions, weeds lose their advantage. Small moves done early change everything, and the best part, you spend less time fighting and more time enjoying the space you've built. If this helped you see your yard differently, subscribe for more simple household systems that actually reduce work. And share this with someone stuck in the weekend weed cycle.